Jai Jai Matara, Jai Bhairab Baba.
Namaskar, sir. Welcome to today's online session. Hope you're well, sir.
Yeah, all good. Let's start.
Yeah. So we identified some frequently asked questions by Upasakas on the Telegram group, and we thought we'll identify them and address them today in this session. I will just start reading one by one each question, and then you can just give crisp answers to them. You have, I think, addressed multiple of them in different podcasts, but
Right.
here if we can just do it in a structured manner in this one video.
Perfect. Let's go.
Okay. Okay. How does one know if they are on the right spiritual path? Are there any particular signs?
So, right spiritual path is a vague question, in my opinion, at the initial stages, because before you enter into a path, you must have that clarity whether it is Deity Upasana you need to do, whether it is, say, something Hatha Yogic, Kriya Yogic you need to do, or if it is just more of Bhakti and Bhajan type of path that suits you. So, that clarity has to come somewhere within. Or best way is to find out that what is it that you like, what is it that attracts you. Number one. Number two, after you enter the path, you carry on for at least 1 to 2 years minimum consistently and see how you feel about it. That gives you a better understanding that whether you are in the broadly in the right path or not. Coming to Deity Upasana, which is where we focus, KBUF Kamakya Upasak Foundation, we focus on Devata Upasana. There we have a choice of deities, but initially you can take the advice of somebody who is a mentor or have a general liking for a specific deity. Obviously, it's understood that people who associate with us are those who have already a stronger liking for devatas like Bhairava, Ma Kamakhya, Tara, etc. So we are not asking somebody who does not have any liking for these deities to come into our fold. That is the beauty of dharma, because there are so many options given to you. So those people automatically will get attracted towards this type of sadhana. And then the thing that you need to observe is that eventually whether you are enjoying the process, whether you look forward to the sadhana, whether if you continue doing the sadhana for a few months, there will be certain nimittas and signs around your life that will come from the deities. So those things are important to understand. And general principle, I will say that to connect with the deity, minimum of 3 years of sadhana consistently without break is needed. In 3 years, if you are not able to progress with the deity at all, there is no sign, and you're still as frustrated as you are, that is when you need to actually think perhaps this is the wrong deity for you. You may need to take somebody's advice at that time and ask somebody if this is the right thing. But more or less, the thing to do is you consistently carry on sadhana and you see how you feel about it. Does your concentration increase? Does it lead to a deeper sense of bliss inside? So those type of things are the key, apart from external nimittas also that many people experience. So that is how you judge whether you are in the right track in terms of the right devata upasana you are doing or not.
How can one worship multiple deities together in one sitting? Is there an order to follow?
Yeah, so general course of, if you see any puja of any deity, we start with Ganpati and then the Navagrahas and the various other the Dwar Devatas and various, there's a krama until you reach to the Mula deity. Uh, when you are worshipping multiple deities, is there a general krama for an average individual to do? No, not necessarily. However, you may time the upasana. Say, suppose you are spending 1 hour or 2 hours a day on the sadhana, you may break it up, part of it into daytime, part of it into the night. And night time means around anywhere after 8 to 9 is night, but start before 12 o'clock. It's something I've mentioned before many times. Deities like, yeah, some of the deities like Bhairava worship works very well at night. If you do consistently, if you are facing the right direction and the right time, it will produce faster result. But that doesn't mean that you cannot do on the daytime also. It's perfectly all right to do on the daytime. Uh, there is no specific krama of this. You can, at the initial stages, you do however you want to do. But over time, what you will realize is that one or two of these deities are the ones that are key for your spiritual growth. So though they become the Ishta Devata. So once the Ishta Devata is determined, and it's not that easy at the initial stages, do not intellectually try to decode this. It is an experiential thing, either with the help of Jyotisha or better still, it's an experiential thing. Once it comes up, experientially that this is my Ishta Devata. Then the sadhana is designed this way that eventually all the devatas that you worship at the end will tie into the Ishta Devata. Ishta Devata takes on a cosmic form, and you believe that all devatas are parivara of the Ishta Devata. So if I am worshipping Kamakhya as my Ishta, then even Bhairava is a parivar of Ishta of Kamakhya. Even Tara is a form of Kamakhya. Even Skanda is a form of parivara of Kamakhya. So that is the end of the process. So once you are determined, once you know that who is your Ishta, last thing that you do when all the deities have been worshipped, whatever forms, multiple Mahavidyas, different types of Bhairavas, Shiva, etc. At the end, the last Upasana again is of the Ishta, where at least in one line you mention to the Ishta that all these are your forms. There's a specific mantra also for doing this, but let's just, even if mentally it is mentioned, that is good enough. So it helps to integrate your mind with the sadhana that you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Third question. How can we improve our concentration during mantra japa, especially in longer sittings?
Uh, Concentration takes time. Concentration. There is no magic formula to increase concentration. First, as I say, that you need to learn to sit still. The body has to be still. When you are consistently able to sit still without much movement or without fidgeting about, whether it's even if for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour, whatever it is, and you carry that on for at least 3 months, then there will be phases in the middle of this where the mind will become more still, concentrated. Eventually, as you keep carrying on this process, then that phases where the mind becomes concentrated for a few seconds will become for larger periods of time, and that is how the concentration actually develops. There is To develop concentration is the toughest of all things in sadhana, and there is no magic formula to do that unless you are very lucky and there is somebody extremely advanced who has the power, the shakti to automatically concentrate your mind. That is very rare. That is very, very rare, but it's possible. For everybody else, the only way to do this is that you have to first learn to sit still. The body becomes still, the posture becomes correct, the adhara is steady, then the mind will also become, eventually, the mind will become steady. And another thing you may do is if the mind is very disturbed, then do a samanya pranayama for a few 5 minutes or something like that. Or just sit quietly and observe your breathing for 5 minutes. No mantra, nothing is required. Just observe the breath going in and going out without trying to force it in any way. Even for 5 minutes, you do that, your mind becomes a little steadier compared to what it was. Then you do the mantra japa of the deity, etc. But eventually, yes, your body has to become still. Until the body becomes still, the mind will not develop that level of concentration.
So in initial stages, even if the sitting is very mechanical, we still make it a point to complete the sitting and be
Correct.
consistent with it.
Right. So that is how it's all practice. Practice, practice, practice changes things. There's no magic formula to this. As the posture and the body becomes steady and still, then eventually as sadhanas are done, then the mind also becomes steady.
Right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Can one mala be used for different deities, or each deity requires a different mala?
Both are correct.
Different variations of this question keep coming, like which mala to use, which colored
Right.
mala,
Right. So
and
both of them are correct. Both are possible. Both are used by people I've seen. So there are I've seen very good upasakas. They use one mala for all the sadhanas that they do for each deity. Mala becomes more powerful. On the other hand, there are different malas for different deities. So it is entirely up to the upasaka that what they want. If you're only interested in general spirituality, you can have one mala. But if you want to experience the different types of energies that the deities create and how they interact with the mala, then different malas have different propensities and powers, or the way they gather energy from the mantra. So Rudraksha is very good for all spiritual purposes for any devata in the Shiva Shakti pantheon. Anybody, the Shiva Shakti Parivara, any deity, Rudraksha is very good. Once Fatika is used, then it calms down the mind slowly. When it comes to ebony wood, black colored, that mala generates a lot of strong power very quickly for Shaiva deities, and they can have a very protective impact on the Upasaka. Uh, then, for certain kinds of prayogas of Devi mantras, lal, uh, Sphatika or Lal Hakik actually is also very good. It produces fast results. For Ma Baglamukhi, standard thing to use is mala made of haldi. She responds very fast. But again, if these have certain transactional and certain prayoga aspect involved in this, but basically, if just somebody is interested in just spiritual growth, one mala is also fine. There is no hard and fast no to either of these two.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. What is the significance of offering Bhog in Nitya Upasana? If mandatory, what do we do while traveling?
Okay, so bhog is a offering of food is a bhog is a very good practice to do specifically in Bhairav sadhana more than other deities. He responds because deities devatas who are closer to the earth, as I have mentioned often, Bhairava is Shiva who has come down to this plane. When they are closer to the earth, they accept food offerings very nicely, and not just that, it is an integral part of the sadhana. By offering food and then consuming that prasad, it also energizes the upasaka and brings much more clarity in his sadhana, depth in his sadhana. So that is very important process to do. It's not that if you don't give bhog it is going to cause any negative impact, but it is a way to accelerate your sadhana. And there are specific books that to be given, which the deities like, specific deities like. And this is more applicable in terms of with respect to Bhairava, definitely, also with respect to Skandha to some degree, more than other deities. In case somebody is, however, on the other hand, one can offer bhog without complicating things. One can offer anything that is prepared, with a correct frame of mind that this is being offered as a bhog, can be given as bhog to the deities. So, only thing to be remembered is that if you're preparing an elaborate bhog, I mean, I know a lot of these upasakas, some of them whom I guide, have very elaborate bhogs that they offer. So you should keep these utensils for cooking separate from normal utensils, and the utensils for offering also has to be there. If nothing else, you can offer sweets as bhog. If that is also not possible, you can offer batasha or gur or something like that as bhog, and you can carry them along with you in a small plate dedicated to the deity. And then everywhere you are going, wherever you are going, when you are doing the seva to the devata, you can offer a little bit of bhog. So especially in Bhairav Upasana, it's a very good thing to do. Again, if it is not possible at all, it's all right to skip. It is not going to cause any negative effect. But if you offer bhog regularly, then it increases the positive effect of a sadhana.
So that extra effort makes a difference, and the bhava and the involvement with which you prepare the bhog or arrange for the bhog, even if something small, it.
Yes, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. In fact, the more effort one puts in preparing the bhog also counts towards seva of the deity, and it definitely makes an effect. If you can cook the bhog yourself, obviously many people may not be able to do it every day. So in that case, you use something as a sweet or something you order for somewhere. But that which is prepared by the upasaka himself is always the best bhog to be offered.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Moving on. If one can't do Nitya due to illness, travel, or other work engagements, how do we resume after interruptions?
Don't worry too much if you are not able to do, then just whenever you are starting again, mentally just do a shama prarthana to the devata that you could not continue because of so and so reasons, and you are starting again. Just start off, that's it. Don't No need to get guilt tripped about it or anything.
Okay. But do we have to be more mindful when we are in an anushthan about these things, about having time
So,
and.
if you have taken a sankalpa, then it is good to follow through and ensure that it is done, and as far as possible, because sankalpa has that, it's like a promise that you have made. But if you're doing nitya upasana, ideal course you should carry on. If you're sick or ill, or if you're not able to sit, even if you're lying down, you can still do the japa to whatever degree it's possible for you. If it's absolutely not possible, then fine. After the travel is over, then you can again resume.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
The next question is about experiences in sadhana, especially unusual experiences or dreams. How do we navigate and interpret them? And there's also a sub question to that about body heat or hearing strange voices, or an increase in lust or anger, things like that.
There are many parts to this
Many.
question. Yeah.
Right.
Will one by one. So first is
Oh,
increase in the body heat is a is can be a common phenomenon in many of the mantra sadhana of deities. Uh, it is certain mantras and certain devatas, uh, certain mantras when they interact with certain individuals can and they're doing a lot of intense sadhana because of environmental factors and other things also coupled together can increase the body heat in an upasaka. This, for example, it very often happens in the case of deities like Narasimha or Pratyangira, etc. The body heat increases massively during those times. So it is mandatory that you keep some kind of water, something to cool down. At least you can put it, at the nerves, where behind your ears or at the elbows or things like that. It calms down the process. Or if it is going too high, then take a break, then come back again like that. Okay. So body heat increasing is sometimes an effect of the mantras that is being done. If it is causing discomfort, take a break, come back again, keep some water, put some water on your head, or in an extreme case, if it has increased beyond a certain parameter, then you may need to do small abhishekam of Shiva anywhere. And then with that water abhishekam, you sprinkle it over your head and put it on your body. It calms down the processes. At the same time, when you're doing Devi or Devata Upasana, it is good to keep your forehead covered in either Ashtagandha or Vibhuti or something. It helps to calm down the energies, specifically in the third eye space and the head. Okay. It's a very good practice to do that. In some cases of Bhairav sadhana, you put the vibhuti in your body also, smear the vibhuti. It's basically one of the ways to cool down the intense energies if it gets activated very strongly. Okay.
okay.
So,
What
uh,
about strange voices, sir?
right. So strange voices is a problematic thing. Let's put it this way first. It should ideally not happen in a normal condition. When you start hearing voices or something like that, you need to be skeptical. It need not be a deity, it could be anything else, or it could be some problematic thing inside the horoscope of the individual itself. So be a little skeptical of it, and it's good if something like this is happening to consult somebody who's more knowledgeable in these things, or at least drop us a mail, uh, because these things are linked to horoscopes. Not everybody will be hearing voices. So depends on what type of voice you're hearing. So then the investigation of this problem needs to start with what are the doshas in the horoscope inherent in the individual. Okay, there are some people who may be more prone to certain kinds of influences. Suppose you are doing this practice in a house or a space where there is already some kind of a negative energy. So these things have to be all considered before we can actually say. Hearing voices normally is not a normal thing at all in the sadhana process. However, there is a possibility, 1% possibility. This is what I told till now is what is going to happen in 99% cases. There is a 1% possibility that an upasaka is very, very pure inside. So if you are pure inside, there is a protection. There is no impact of the deities or other things, or impact of negative things on you. Given that, there is a possibility of hearing an inner voice that is very different. If it's a divine thing, whatever experience you have, if it's a divine thing, it is going to make you calmer. It is going to make you more settled. It's going to make you more in a state of bliss and less of desiring and hankering for things. However, if none of these are happening, if there is still there is a disturbance, there's stress, there's tension, and there's fidgetiness, there's a lack of, there is no quietude in the person, स्थिरता नहीं है जिसमें, so that indicates that whatever experience you're having did not always be the voices and all from divine beings or deities or something. It could be something else. You need to be careful, and you need to consult somebody who may be more knowledgeable. Specifically, there are instances if the voice, what exactly is being heard. That's so many factors are there. We cannot completely generalize it, but a thumb rule is that if somebody suddenly starts hearing voices and the voices are telling him some things to do or this or that, avoid it as far as possible and take help from somebody who's more knowledgeable. Okay.
Okay. All right. What about an increase in lust or an increase in anger?
So these are natural ways by which the basically it indicates that the amount, the capacity of the body, the adhara, to take the energy that is being generated uh, through the mantra sadhana, whether it is competent enough to take it or not. Normally, what happens is when the energy generated is very high, so part of it will be integrated in the body and part of it will flow out either through lust or anger. So there is nothing to get guilt tripped about. Anger you need to control so far as possible. One of the ways is after your mantra japa and then calmly meditate on Shiva or meditate on a deity or Om Bhairavaya Namah in a very transcendental form, something very vast and large. Imagine the whole universe belongs to this Bhairava, not for any specific prayoga or something. That is called the process of the Shanti. Basically, you are bringing a certain degree of peace inside you. That helps to uh, keep the energies in control or bring about a balance in the mind and body with the sadhanas that you are doing. Many of the people who do sadhanas may also be doing multiple other sadhanas which are not from our what we may not have recommended, because generally that's the tendency of people. So when you do too many things, there should be one thing at the end. Either, again, coming back to that question on multiple deities, either you offer everything to the Ishta Devata and then you are in a sense of surrenderance. That is important. Or you meditate on Shiva or you meditate on Om Bhairavaya Namah, that Nam mantra, and that causes a certain degree of balance.
So, what about dreams and interpreting them? Should we get involved in dreams too much or obsess over them too much or just let them be?
Yeah, so dream interpretation is not at all easy for most people. One option is that you write down the dreams, write down everything that you get, and then see that if it actually transpires or not. Do not try to act, specifically mold your activity based on a dream. Okay, because you do not know exactly what plane the dream is coming from. Large section of the dreams are meaningless often. Large section of the dreams are actually nothing but things that you have heard in the conscious mind from different places, and your subconscious again projects a drama out of it and tells you the same thing. That is what happens in a large number of cases. Only in very specific, maybe 10% cases, there may be dreams which are which are like a predictive dream of things that are going to happen or some kind of an instruction. That is not normal for most people. So we cannot have a thumb rule regarding this. What is good to do is that be very objective in your sadhana. Note down the dream, write it down, and then see, carry on your normal life, then see how far it actually happens or not, and be very honest about it. This process, because very often we tend to feel that we tend to actualize things that have not happened. We rush towards creating a circumstance to somehow fulfill the dream because it helps us feel important that, see, I got a dream and it kind of happened. So that should not be the attitude. Attitude should be you write down the dream, carry on your normal sadhana, normal life, and see over time how far it actually transpires or not. That gives you a clarity that whether the dream is basically uh, you know a predictive dream, or more like you only have gathered the information, subconscious has taken the data from around you and formed a kind of a thing. Another dream is possible sometimes, which is more like the nightmare type of dreams. If that happens to people, then you need to check whether you have any kind of pitru dosha in the chart, whether there is sarpa dosha related things, or any kind of specific afflictions, then those need to be remedied in order to get out of those dreams.
Thank you, sir. Moving on. What effect do food habits, smoking, or other such activities have on intensity and efficacy of sadhana? This is again different parts. So we can maybe address food first. Food, I assume, is about veg and non veg.
So again, I mean, I've told this 100 times now. It does not matter that whether whatever is culturally normal for you to eat, veg or non-veg, carry on doing that, carry on eating that. There is no specific. I have not seen any evidence at all anywhere that having veg by default makes anyone more spiritual. It's not like that. Eat whatever is comfortable for you. There's no compulsion that you have to switch your food habits or anything. But what is important is that you need to reduce the quantity of the food intake as you do more sadhana. Whatever you're eating, you have to eat something that is lighter, that's easy to digest relatively within the the cultural context where you are doing this sadhana, and reduce the quantity of food that you normally take. So the lesser food you have, uh, that the prana that is required by the body and the mind is then taken from the japa that you are doing, and that creates a nice that increases the effect of the sadhana. So that is the only thumb rule to be followed. And the other is that if you have a lunch or a dinner, then at least give 1 to 1.5 hours break before you can do any spiritual practice. Otherwise, it will interfere with the digestion process. Okay, so that's where food is concerned. What was the next question?
What about habits like smoking, sir? Do they interfere with the sadhana in any way, or do they?
Any type of uh, again any type of dependency can cause problems. There is no doubt. However, it is not a huge moral crime or anything like that. So I don't specifically mention it because there's nothing to mention. I mean, smoking is bad. It's forget sadhana. In general, smoking can cause various issues. That is, of course, there. I myself had been a smoker at one point. Now I don't. Uh, so there is no hard and fast rule I will put into this. Uh, s- Giving up smoking is good because it's anyway bad for the health. There's a lot of cancerous things and all that. But does it have a direct impact on sadhana? Perhaps if you reduce it, anything that you are accustomed to doing, see, this is the principle. Suppose you are accustomed to eating a certain quantity of food and you suddenly reduce it to three-fourth of that same quantity. So initially it will take some days for adjusting, the body will adjust, your sadhana will increase. Then you will see that there's a friction, and eventually that leads to a greater kind of synergy. Same way, if somebody is a smoker and decides to quit smoking for some days or reduce the quantity of smoking, that automatically will cause an impact on the sadhana. Whenever you change certain set habits that your normal course you are doing, dealing with, that difference in the energy will be taken up through the sadhana. So that is a very good thing. Yeah, smoking is, I mean, all apart. Smoking is anywhere problematic for the health aspects and other things. But so far as people who are doing sadhana, there is no hard and fast rule that I would like to put about this. It's for their own judgment whether they want to reduce smoking. It's good to reduce smoking, but it's not that if they can't reduce, they cannot do the sadhana. Not like that.
Got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you for addressing all these questions. This is all for now. If you have any concluding remarks,
No,
please feel
nothing.
free.
Just that the regarding the Telegram group that we have, and we have quite a number of people. I think almost I don't know 25,000 or more. So the more people participate in the Vishesh sadhanas, the more they will get integrated with the the process and the energies that we are dealing with, the deities that we work with, or the deities that we do upasana of. And depending on how consistently they do the Vishesh sadhanas in the Telegram group. So basically, your Nitya sadhana is what you do daily. Vishesh sadhana are the ones you do on specific tithis. And there are 3 or 4 Vishesh sadhanas that we encourage people to do, whether it is of Bhairava, whether it's of Matara, whether it's of Skandha, etc. The group of moderators, they mention that. So depending on the consistency of participation in those sadhanas, uh, we understand that how strongly they are linked with their deities. Accordingly, they also get opportunities for the other activities that we do, whether it's Annadanam, whether it's some of the Kalpa Sadhana, and the various other things that we will be doing in coming times. So that is the route to get involved in volunteering activities for various KBUF programs and projects that we have. Because at the end of the day, we want people who are doing sadhana. We don't want somebody who has no clue of sadhana, has no interest, but just wants to volunteer. That's not the principle on which KBF runs.
Right. And I believe it is also important to just fill the forms about your sadhanas and what you're doing
Do the
in the
sadhanas,
Vishesh
fill the
sadhanas if
forms.
you're participating.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. So I think going ahead, we can do once in a while these type of videos answering the questions, I think, and that will be good for the people. Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.